I should probably stop playing that right there, just in case I get a copyright strike, which would be kind of absurd considering the fact that I actually wrote that part, the original piano part to Adele's first single, Hometown Glory. Now, this video is in no way, shape or form an attack on Adele. I have nothing but respect for Adele. She deserves all the success that she's had. And we got on very well while we were at the BRIT school together for 4 years. We worked together many times and produced a lot of music together. The reason why I'm making this video is because, well, I was recently on the Tammy Peterson podcast. That's Jordan Peterson's wife, if anyone is curious. And I was basically speaking on nutrition, but in the process of getting onto the podcast, Tammy was interested in a brief background. And so I did touch upon my musical past and my relationship with Adele and the BRIT school. And so, well, look, I thought maybe I would just make this video so that I can share with you guys a little bit more of my past and the truth. And I think that a lot of you might get a kick out of it. So for a bit of context, Adele and myself were a very similar age. I think she was about a month older than me, or she still is. And we both auditioned and were accepted to enter the BRIT School of Performing Arts and Technology in Croydon, London at the same time. So that's how we met, that's how we know each other. And that's how we went on to work with each other and produce music. So in the beginning, typically groups are just thrown together. That way kind of become acquainted with different people. And actually it's just a new experience for many of us working as part of a group, because many of us were just sitting at home with our instrument on our own. You know, we're not playing in small bands, if you like, a small musical ensemble. And in one of these initial groups, there was myself and Adele. And so when it came to the point where we could choose who we wanted to work with independently, Adele would quite often approach me. I think she liked, obviously, the piano, but I think she liked the way I played, my style and that kind of thing. And we got on quite well together. We worked well together. We would go on to produce quite a bit of music within those first 2 years. And then we both re-auditioned and were accepted once again for a further 2 years. And it wasn't until year 12, so the first year of the second part of our time there, that she approached me one day with a new song. And she wanted me to play the piano. Hometown Glory, right? So she's written the melody, the lyrics, and she's got 4 chords down on the guitar. And so now we find ourselves in a small practice room. There were really, really small practice rooms with a little piano. Imagine Adele's big, powerful voice in a small practice room. Anyway, so now I'm figuring out the chords, right? Not a problem. Easy peasy. But what I'm doing is adapting and advancing these chords a little bit, right? I'm shaping them and I'm playing them in such a way that it's now very unique. It's very distinguished among other songs using the same 4 chord progression, because nobody owns a 4 chord progression. For example, let's just say I'm playing in C major, I play C major triad, G major triad, F major triad, G major triad and back to C. No one owns that. You can take that and write a song to it. But if I played those chords in such a way that everybody, when they heard it, they can tell the difference between that and another song using those same chords, right? It's got its own melody. It's very recognizable. Now, that's a composition in of itself, right? So she had the song, and now I've taken those 4 chords, which no one owns the rights to, right? They go round and round, same 4 chords. I've now advanced those chords to have its own melody. And in that intro, I think many people would recognize it immediately, just from one chord. And that's because I made it that way. You know, Adele strummed these 4 chords on the guitar. She didn't play it on the piano. And if she did play it on the piano, she didn't play it that way. That's what I came up with. And so I co-wrote the song, right? If somebody comes along and just writes one line in one of the verses somewhere, they co-wrote the song. So I certainly co-wrote the song, and again, I just want to make it clear, this isn't an attack on Adele. I don't have any beef with Adele or the music industry. I've never bothered with this, right? But here's what happened. About 1.5 years goes by after we've left the BRIT school. Most people are in contact, they're in similar circles. They've all continued to pursue music, many of them in the same universities and things like this, where seemingly I just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. I wasn't really as passionate about music as other people. I wasn't as sure about myself on what I wanted to do with music. And even if I wanted to continue at all, you know, and I ended up just getting a very standard job down at Sainsbury's supermarket, which is only a few miles down the road actually from me now. And anyway, about 1.5 years goes by and I get a call out of the blue, and it's Adele. She wants to have me come along to Liverpool with both the guitarist and the bass player, Ben and Tom, all went to the same school. They applied and got in year 12 and 13. They weren't in the first 2 years, but we'd all played together a fair bit. And she wanted us all to go to Liverpool to record her album. Now, immediately when she's sort of proposing this, I'm not really even that interested. I'm trying to figure out how to say no, and I'm not really someone that can say no very well. I often say yes to things I don't want to do. Mr. Nice but dim, push over, all that kind of stuff. That was me back then. And I actually just wasn't interested. I didn't want to go to Liverpool. I understand it sounds like potentially an opportunity here, you know, and look, Adele wasn't Adele the way she is now. She was just Adele. But that's not what it was about. I just wasn't really big on this whole song writing thing. I wasn't really into this branch of music, I guess you could say. I was way more into scoring music for films. I love film music. I've always loved, you know, John Williams, Thomas Newman, James Horner, James Newton Howard, Hans Zimmer, the greats, in my opinion. That's the music that I liked, and I was genuinely interested in at least scoring music for TV or something. But obviously at the BRIT school, it's pretty much just songs, songwriting, figure out songs, play songs, write songs. Look, even to this day, I have never bought an album in my life. I've never downloaded a track or a song from anywhere, ever. I know it's really, really strange. I seem to get my kicks from watching film and playing myself. For some reason, I'm not interested in listening to songs. I don't know. It's very strange, I understand, considering that I went to the BRIT school. But that's the truth. I also didn't really have a lot of belief in myself. I was quite insecure, got on my own way, sort of held myself back a little bit. Maybe I was a bit scared to succeed or scared to fail, right? Both. I just didn't want to be out there. I didn't want to put myself out there. I was quite content, and money wasn't an issue. At the time, I was living at home with mum and dad. No real stress or pressures. Where I was such a recluse and I didn't have anything going on in my life other than work and then coming home, You've got to realise I played the piano, I painted portraits. I liked to muck around and edit photos, whatever it was, creative stuff. And I could do that at home. It didn't cost me a penny. So I was saving like £10,000 every year, right? And I thought that was quite good. And I'm trying to figure out how to say no. And so anyway, she calls again and I'm like, yeah, well, no, it sounds great. Like, I'll think about it. Let me think. Anyway, I think it was about the third call and I finally just tell her the truth. I'm not interested, right? And so I turned down Adele. And I didn't think too much of it at the time. About another 6 months goes by, say. And I'm working a very early shift and I'm putting out flowers, right at the front of the store, about half an hour away from customers coming in. And so we've got the radio on still. And all of a sudden, I hear me. Well, it's not me, right? Because I didn't record it. But it was the music, you know. And then I'm like, okay. I see what's happened. Bit of a shock, honestly, you know. And I was saying to my friend at the time who worked there, Dean Baker. Shout out to Dean Baker. So I was explaining to my friend Dean, that was me, I wrote that. He was like, wow, you've really passed up an opportunity there. The funny thing is, I wasn't actually bothered by the money. I wasn't bothered by any of it, really, you know. Adele did give me the opportunity. I turned her down. That's my fault. But I was hoping just to have some acknowledgement, like a credit, co-written by Lee Kopus, or at least the piano co-written, Lee Kopus. And that never happened. And look, again, I'm not aiming and firing towards Adele here. I don't think that she ever really considered that was my piano part, you know. I think she came to me with a song, it was already finished in her mind. And I think the fact that she did ring, she did ask, she did give me the opportunity, and then I've said no. I don't think she ever considered for a second that she needed to ask for permission or whether she needed to credit me or anything like that. But unfortunately, you know, I did write that piano piece. She didn't. She didn't play the piano. Regardless of how complicated it is, it was mine. But now it's hers, and it's been hers for many, many years, and there's nothing I can do about that. People have said, oh, why don't you just call her up and do another stupid stuff like that? I'm not like that. I don't want to use people. I don't want to, like, oh, now I'm interested, now you're successful. No, it hasn't changed for me. You know, I'm still not passionate about songwriting. I'm still not passionate about being out there like that in the limelight and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it really would suit me and my personality. Credit would have been nice. That's all I'm saying here, is just a credit where credit's due would have been nice. my battery died, and so it's just changed position now. But anyway, I'm just going to try and wrap up this video. So to summarise, I went to the BRIT school with Adele. We wrote lots of music together. I co-wrote Hometown Glory, though she probably doesn't look at it that way. I don't think she ever has, which is why I don't take it personally in a funny kind of way. I don't think she's ever considered that she's taken something from me or that she owed me a credit or anything. No, you know, it is what it is. It's all water under the bridge at this point. No one owes me anything, not even an apology. I'm not interested. It's all good. Adele is a very genuine person. Whenever it does come up about going to the same school, etc., and people say, oh, what was she like? I always say almost exactly the way she comes across on TV. That's how authentic she is. You know, I think that's why so many people love Adele and they're, you know, fanatical about Adele, is because she's just real. You know, if you think about how she dresses, how she speaks, it's not like the typical X Factor artist that you take and then you change their look and you make it this brand. And no, Adele is, even Adele just called herself Adele, right? I think she dressed the way she wanted to dress. I don't think anyone came along and said, like, oh no, you need to do this, you need to do that. And so that's what I respect about her. And look, you know, her musical ability is just way, way up there. You know, one of the biggest artists, most successful artists of our era. And there's no question her songwriting ability is just exceptional. It really is. She knows how to write great music. And yeah, thank you for that as well. You've provided a lot of people with a lot of joy and also music to turn to and to relate to and all this kind of stuff. So I hope you guys have found this interesting. I'm sure many of you have got a kick out of it, learning this little thing about me and my past. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.